Welcome to Leadership Trends and Insights. I'm your host, Nina Segura, where we create collaborative conversations to connect our company culture and our world communities. I'm so excited because I finally got the chance to talk to Wally Reams after many tries and unexpected delays. He is the co-chief executive officer of Mandra RX and a VMT venture mentorship team mentor, a long-term pharmaceutical executive, and just an all-out really amazing leader. Wally, thank you so much for everything, your patience, your focus, your commitment.
Nina, I'm absolutely delighted to be here, and I knew we could do it, and we did.
You did, and even beyond all the craziness, and we did it. So welcome. Wally, the reason why I wanted you here is because you're a man who really embodies your what you say. And so I'd love to hear what you think the world needs more now as it relates to leadership than ever.
Yeah, I think that what the world needs now is really credibility, believability, and we need leadership that will take into account all of the stakeholders and work the vision around the interests of all stakeholders that are involved, which is really the only sustainable way to lead. And when you think about it, you can apply that to corporations as well as to world leadership. Just real quickly, as it relates to corporations, the people you're leading are your employees, it's your customers, the shareholders, and your suppliers.
Yes.
In the case of world leadership, you're leading your own people, you're leading your allies, you have diverse views among your own people, you're leading your trading partners, as well as to a certain extent, you have to lead your adversaries. And in order to do that effectively, you have to be believable, and you have to take into account basically all of the interests that are involved there.
Wow. So the best leaders are credible and they are really conscious of the people around them, all the different constituents.
No, exactly right. So, you often hear about management by consensus, et cetera. I mean, what that really is, that's not really letting yourself be led by the members of your team. What it is getting involved and being engaged at all levels with your team member, all levels with your allies, if you will, if it's on a world basis, to allow your vision to be molded to a certain extent by the needs, of all of the stakeholders.
What do you think are some thoughts or, maybe even any personal areas where you stretched yourself that gets in the way?
That gets in the way. So, there were many cases where I would have, like when I was running the organization at that time was Aviva Drug Delivery System, and I'd have a leadership team, and I'd have a certain direction that I wanted to go with the organization. And even though the entire organization reported to me, before I got in one of our management meetings and announced, hey, this is the direction we're going to go, I spent the time with each of the individuals, taking into account, what it is that they thought, but at the same time, being a salesman for what my vision was. And so that when we got together then as a group, there would be no grandstanding, and you'd get to a consensus much quicker. And then you have everybody moving in the same direction with you rather than having to move through inertia, a rock or an immovable object. It's so much easier when everything is going in the same direction.
It sounds like you took time to think about how you wanted it to go, and then you designed it to go that way before you started the conversations. Does that sound about right?
That's exactly right. And it's a lot about salesmanship. And you can't sell something. I go back again to being credible, to being believable. And that's a long-term thing. You can't sell people on things if they're not going to believe what it is that you're going to say. So the major tenets of management over the years really haven't changed. What's changed is the way that we're approaching it, whether it's the world leaders or even in corporations, where, self-interest, demagoguery, autocracy, are really driving the way that, our leaders are acting. as opposed to working in the best interest. Again, I come back to all of the stakeholders. And, when you do that, and it's hard and it takes a lot of time, but when you do that, you get a better result. You get a result that more people are happy with, and it's more sustainable.
Right. So when we don't take time to think about how we want things to go and design it and listen to everyone, we're creating short-term solutions that aren't sustainable.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I don't even know what more to say to that, because, at the end of the day, if you try and force something through your event, maybe you can get by with it after a while, but then, after a while, you're going to get that resistance, or you're going to get team members that are falling off, that are going to be disinterested, that, are not going to drive the results that, that you're actually looking for.
So if I'm a leader in an organization and maybe my vision isn't being inculcated throughout the organization, or maybe I'm losing some of my best people, this approach might be a very good one to take.
Oh, well, absolutely. I mean, people, are less likely to fall off of an organization, if they're actually engaged in the process, and, they really believe that the organization has their interest in mind, but is listening to them and incorporating their thoughts, and that everybody can participate in the process. And it doesn't, to a certain extent, there's a little bit of bottom up management, but the vision really comes from the top. But, what you do with your vision over time, as you're listening to all of the stakeholders, you're slowly modifying your vision to put it in its most effective form.
Got it. Yeah, I love that. And I wonder, like, for you, have you spent a lot of time with other people of your caliber to learn how to do this? Or like, this isn't something I think I learned in my, master's degree program, what you're saying. I did learn it at American Express and many good
Right.
organizations who teach their people these things. But I'm just curious, like, how did you learn this, what you're sharing with us today?
You learn it a lot from, your senior management peers and other corporations.
Yeah.
You learn it a lot from your own management team members. I mean, everybody has something to offer. And, personally, I learned a lot from having started out in sales.
Yeah.
And, at the end of the day, it's always about salesmanship. It's an internal sell. And, it's about
Internal sale.
making the customer happy. And the customer is all of your other shareholders or stakeholders,
Really
and,
seeing each other as each other's customers, right? Like that. I love what you said about internal sales and seeing the stakeholders and how are they motivated? What do they listen to, right? What are they afraid of? Really deeply listening and responding.
Exactly right. And you establish, let's take an example off of the world stage now. When you establish credibility and these relationships with people, you go way back to the first Gulf War, and all of the people that were involved, all the countries, 22 countries. And George Bush Sr. went and he leveraged old relationships and people that believed in him, and brought them all together. I mean, it was a marvel of leadership that, he could pull that one off. Whether or not, you're a George Bush fan, it was pretty impressive. And he did that because he was a guy that people could believe in. He was a guy that established and maintained his relationship with these people, and they listened.
I love it. I just want to thank you so much, Wally, for being with us, sharing your wisdom, sharing your experience. If you are a leader of an organization looking for business transformation, or if you have anything to say about this interview, I'd love to see you like, share, comment. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks, Wally, again, for all of the ups and downs to get here today.
Thank you, Nina. I'm delighted to have been with you.
So nice.
Yeah.